Next year this is going to translate like this. When she was growing up in her village, there were no girls to play sports with, so she would play sports with men. And that really defines her till today. If there isn't anything, she won't be just sitting down and complaining there isn't anything. She's one who creates opportunities for herself. And that's why we call her the brain. This is our 7th member, let's say, Nimnoma Sherpa. I like to call her the chains because to me she is literal personification of chains. एउटा सानो गाउँमा चाहिँ हुर्केको एकदम दुर्गम क्षेत्रमा चाहिँ गएको केटी अहिले संसारभरि एउटा पर्वतारोही भनेर चिनेको छ। उले धेरै नाम कमाइरहेको छ र उले नाम कमाउँदाखेरि हाम्रो टिमले पनि नाम कमाइरहेको छ, हाम्रो देशले पनि नाम कमाइरहेको छ। त्यो कसरी भनेर सोध्नुहुन्छ भने when she was a little girl, she grew up, she was born and raised in this remote village in Dolakha, Simi गाउँ भन्ने गाउँमा. And the school that she went to, the primary school, had a afternoon meal program by World Food Program. And they used to get halwa as afternoon meal. And Nimnoma tells us today that as a kid, that was the only sweetest thing that she had access to. And that's why she was inspired to go to school, because she really liked this sweet thing that she was given at school. After that, when she understood that, okay, education could be this one thing that can change me from being a village girl to something bigger, she wanted to continue studying. Her brother called her to Kathmandu, then she continued her education till 10th in Kathmandu. She missed her mother, she missed being a child because she had to take care of herself. Her brother was always traveling. And when the relatives came, when other people from the village came, when her brother's friends came, Nimnoma was just a little girl, was also going to school but taking care of household chores, washing clothes for everyone, and no one really thought much of this girl. But in a small span of time, when she was 16 years old, after SLC exams, which is 10th, she joined the Everest expedition. At 17, she climbed Everest, became the youngest woman to climb Everest at the time. She started visiting schools. At 17 years of age, she started making money, supporting the family. Last week, Nimnoma was in Japan because World Food Program in Japan sort of analyzed all the success stories of WFP people, beneficiaries, and her story was taken as the most inspiring out of all the WFP stories across the world. And they came to Nepal, filmed her, developed posters on her. So if you go to Japan for a whole year, you're going to see posters and videos on Nimnoma across Japan where they are promoting her as a youth icon. So our little village girl is now international icon, and that's why we like to call her the change. Now, flashback to 2008. This is where everything started. First Inclusive Women's Sagarmatha Expedition 2008 spring. Those men in red jackets, Dagumbu Sherpa and Pema Doji Sherpa, they are our leaders. Till 2007, there were only 7 Nepali women who had climbed Everest. So our leaders thought that was embarrassing for a country that's home to Everest. So they organized this expedition so that, with the objective that more Nepali women had access to mountaineering. That's why it started, and they started looking for members. They announced it on media, at Nepal Mountaineering Association. So we all came to know about it. We were originally a team of 10 women. There were more women interested, but it was the 10 who stayed committed with the idea for a whole year. And 4 of us had to quit our jobs, a couple of us took education gap years, which is not common in part of the world. And we all said, let's go for it. But before we could say that, we're all faced with this question, can I do it? Because obviously, I still get this question, you went to Everest? Till the top? For me, someone with no background in sports, this kind of activity, I asked myself, I was working as a journalist, how do I even know if I have it in me? So I asked this question to my leaders, so did my friends, and the answer was, if you go for this training, which is basic mountaineering training conducted by Nepal Mountaineering Association, it's a month-long, very intense training in the Himalayas, and if you pass this, you can become members of this expedition. I went for this training. I had never done anything so physically demanding in my life. The first day we had to walk, I was fine. The next day in the morning, I thought both my legs had jammed from right to the toes. And I thought, this is bad. This is embarrassing. This is the end of whatever Everest dreams I have. And I didn't tell anyone. I got up, I slowly started walking and realized that that kind of pain is actually called sweet pain in the army. Because that is the easiest kind of pain, the least painful to deal with. So everything was new to me. We started learning how to put on crampons, how to walk on them, to how to do ice climbing, and how to rescue a friend if the friend is if the friend falls into a crevasse or some accident happens. So this was a great training. I remember the first time we went for rock climbing. So until this point, I had always been a good student, and I have two friends, my school and college, to vouch for that. I never failed. I was taken as a serious individual. Teachers liked me, my parents liked me. No one thought I was I was not going to be able to do anything with my life. We go for this rock climbing training. First day, I choose the easiest section and I failed. I couldn't go from half the way up. And I was in this team of women. I had 4 girls at the floor waiting for me to rappel down. And my instructors were like, you've been up for too long, you can't go up, we're getting tired, you have to come down. The reason I didn't want to come down was I was humiliated. I thought, I failed 1. 2, what are the girls going to say? Are they going to be competitive, jealous? Are they going to make it sound like you couldn't do that easy thing? So I was very, very nervous. And when they started rappelling down and my feet touched the ground, these girls, Asa, Nimroma and Vicky, they all surrounded me and they were like, Shailee, next time don't bend yourself, be straight. Don't take the left leg, take the right leg. Don't keep the rope on your side, keep it in the center. Don't use your feet like this, use it like that. And that was the most tremendous encouragement I ever got in my life. And at that time I decided that, okay, I don't care if I climb Everest or not, but I want these girls as my friend for the rest of my life. And till date, that's how our team functions. When somebody is not able to do anything, there are 6 other people to push that person and to be able to do it. So the training was great. I knew I was in a great team. We started getting the mountaineering training and started understanding how it likes to be in the mountains. We came back to Kathmandu, started hiking, doing other kinds of training, continued that. Then we started also the mental preparation, because when you go for something as big as climbing mountains, you can be physically fit, you can be technically skilled, but if you're not there mentally, then it's still dangerous and it's still unpredictable. So, is it better for you all?
It's better.
Thank you. Thank you. So, mental preparation is definitely very important, and the tallest guy in the picture that you can see is Peter Athens. He's climbed Everest 7 times, and we also have our leaders here. So we started asking these people how it's like to be on Everest, what to expect, what to do in difficult situation. So we started this process, and it was here we realized something, that Everest is Everest, which means just because I am a woman, Everest is not going to shrink for me. Just because I am from a non-climbing community, Everest is not going to present me with easier trails or something. And we started, till date, it is like, if I want to do good in exams, I have to be good for exams. Like, just because we have bandas and load shedding and all those problems, exams are not going to get easier for me. I have to be good enough to face that exam. And that's what Everest taught us, right, in that journey, that for me, Everest is not going to shrink. But when people looked at us, they were like, you're too small, the mountain's too big, you look ordinary, the mountain is extraordinary. The objective is great, but it's over-ambitious. And people would be like, what do your parents say? How old are you? Show us your hands. Can you hold ropes? All sorts of questions. It is also on Everest we realized that Everest does not make those discriminations. If you're good enough for Everest, Everest accepts you. At that time we didn't know this, but when we were preparing, we told ourselves, we'll give our 100%. We'll train, we'll get mentally prepared, we'll raise funds, we'll do everything, and we'll let Everest decide. That was the confidence we had. But that confidence was challenged a lot, especially when we were raising funds. Because people would be like, yes, गर्नै पर्ने काम हो हेर्नु हाम्रो यत्रो 8-8 हिमाल छ 5जना 6जना पनि छैन साबरमाथा चढ्ने यो त हामीलाई लाज मर्दो कुरा हो चेलीबेटीले त गर्नै पर्छ हैन मान्छेले यो नराम्रो काम हो वा यो गर्नु हुँदैन यो गर्न नपर्ने चीज हो भनेर त भन्ने एकजना पनि थिएन there was not a single person who thought this was unnecessary. Everyone was like, this is awesome, you know, it was high time something like this happened. But when it came to writing that check, then all these questions started emerging again. How are you going to make it? What if you die? All these questions, which are valid questions, but it always started with the age factor, with the gender factor, with the community that we belong to. The questions were always these. The questions were not, how much have you trained? Those were not the questions. Again, we said, we'll go for it. And eventually we started finding people and organizations who believed in what we're doing. So United Nations World Food Programme was one of them. Our own government provided us major support. That was one of them. Then after that, you know, UNDP, Dance Embassy, Indian Embassy, a lot of different organizations pitched in, and we were able to raise, at that time, over 1 crore Nepali rupees. So that's like over $100,000. So for a team of Nepali women who had no name in the market, no one knew them, not from rich families, for us to be able to just raise this kind of fund was insane, was crazy. I think that was climbing a big mountain in itself. After we did that, this is where we went. Took that flight from Kathmandu to Lukla, often also called the world's most dangerous mountain, airport. Because whenever there is an accident, it becomes international news. If you have an accident somewhere else, in some other airport, internationally nobody cares about it. But whenever there is an accident in Lukla, then the entire world is like, accident on Everest, this is the world's most dangerous thing. Took that flight from Lukla to the base camp is 8 or 9 days of trekking. So once you get down to Lukla, there are no vehicles. Basically there are no wheels, so to speak. No bicycle, no motorbike, of course no vehicles. So we trekked for 8 or 9 days. This is how the beginning of climbing looks like. This Khumbu ice fall. I'm sure a lot of you have heard about it or probably read about it somewhere. Basically, ice fall means it's a frozen river. So it's not moving as fast as a river is, but it is still moving because it's a river nonetheless. It's frozen. So a lot of changes that are happening. There are big ice towers, you know, bigger than these buildings maybe, and there are deep crevasses. So you can hear things cracking up. You can hear things melting down. So this is one of difficult sections when you're climbing Everest from Nepal side. And this is Asa crossing the vertical section on Khumbu ice fall. Where people are standing, this is second camp. From first camp to second is the easiest section on Everest when you go from Nepal. It's just gradual slope and nothing major. But a very famous, at least one climber has passed away here. And that is why mental preparation is very important for us, I think, because Everest sort of always tells you do not underestimate. In a journey, when you go for big goals, there will be tough parts, there will be easy sections, but those easy sections don't mean that you underestimate. The mountain you can see in the front, it's Lhotse. It's one of the tallest mountains in the world as well, above 8,000 meters. On this side is actually Everest, but because it's so steep and rocky, only more adventurous people choose to go from this side. Less adventurous people go up the Lhotse face, then take that ride, cross that little Geneva spur, which is a rock hill, and then go to the last camp. When you climb Everest from Nepal, avoiding leaving the base camp, there are 4 camps: Camp 1, Camp 2, Camp 3, Camp 4. What we do when we climb big mountains is that we do not go from base camp straight to the summit, because our body can't deal with that. The higher you go, the oxygen pressure is lesser, so you need to give your body that time to get adjusted to that low oxygen level. So तल हामी हुन्छौं अनि माथि जान्छौं, बिस्तारै माथि 1-2 दिन बस्छौं, फेरि तल आउँछौं, त्यसो गरेर चाहिँ अक्सिजन लेभलमा आफूलाई घुलमिल गराउँदै हामी बिस्तारै माथि जान्छौं. So we go from base camp to the first camp, spend 2 nights there, come back to the base camp, rest for 2 or 3 days, go up to the second camp, spend a night or 2 there, come back to base camp, spend a couple days there. If you have time, do that at third camp yet again. And then, looking at the forecast, when you know that the weather on every summit is going to be clear, you leave 4 or 5 days in advance, and then you go for the summit. When you do that, each camp you leave early in the morning, you reach the next camp sometime in the afternoon, late afternoon, you spend the rest of the night there. And either take a rest the next day or come back or go up, depending on what you're trying to do. But when you go from third camp, when you reach the fourth camp, you don't spend a night there. You go from third camp, reach fourth camp in the afternoon, then you take rest for a couple hours, melt some snow and ice, and noodles is the only thing that can be cooked. So while I also have to cook time, fourth camp. Anything. So you can cook noodles, but that's it. Just water, juice, tea, and you eat dry fruit, salami or basically ready to eat things, because nothing else can be cooked. So there you eat whatever you can eat. You're already using oxygen from third camp, which is 7,400 meters, and you rest for a couple hours. You check all your equipment. This is how we look like when we're going for the summit, from feet to the top. Crampons, those proper gloves, everything. And there is a famous saying on Everest: above 8,000 meters, it's called death zone, because nothing can survive above 8,000 meters, no plant, no animals. So when you go from here to the summit, your risks increases. If you don't make it this time, that means you may not get a second chance to go for the summit, and many times maybe not get a second chance even to survive, you live a life. So there's a famous saying that goes, one miss game missed. So from here, you have to be very, very, very careful, very careful. Your equipment has to be set, your health has to be in top condition, you cannot lie to yourself, you cannot lie to others, and you have to respect the weather. A lot of times people get competitive in the mountains or get too emotional and forget about the weather and fall for disaster. So this is something you can't do at this point. One of our team's favorite pictures, because as you can see, when you're at this point, you started around 10 in the evening, right? And you keep going throughout the night. And you keep climbing that ridge of Everest, you keep going. And a lot of you may know, people say Everest is not a technical mountain. It is not a technical mountain, but Everest is the tallest mountain in the world, which means that it takes forever to get to the summit. रातभरि हिँडेको हुन्छ, रातभरि हिँडेको छ, अब त होला भने अब आउँदै आउँदैन. आउने त कुरा छोड्दो, एभरेस्टको समिट नपुगेसम्म देख्दा पनि देख्दैन. हैन, अनि हामी त टुप्पोमै पुग्न भनेर हिँडेको हुन्छ. त्यतिखेर चाहिँ हामीले त्यो टुप्पोमा पुग्नुपर्छ भन्ने चाहिँ आफ्नो दिमागमा राखेनौँ. त्यो गोल एउटा चाहिँ हामीले क्लियर भएनौँ भने चाहिँ त्यो बीचमा पेशेन्स लुज गर्न एकदमै सजिलो छ. जति हिँड्दा पनि नआउने, रातबाट दिन भइसक्दा पनि नआउने भन्ने किसिमको एकदम एउटा व्यग्रता चाहिँ हुन्छ. So this is somewhere patience is really important, because you keep walking throughout the night and you're still on some ridge which is not the summit. So that can be very testing. Why this picture is favorite is because it reminds us that when you're on a big goal, it's not just about the destination. It is more importantly about the journey as well. As you can see in this picture, the cloud blanket is below us, other mountains are below us, the horizon is below us. Just a couple hours before this picture was taken, we're already so high that everything else you can see is below us except the ridge that you're going on. So the horizon is below, clouds below, mountains below, and slowly the sun starts showing up. So on the horizon you can see the day break from, black night, it turns into dark blue and then light blue and then yellow, orange and brown, and it's day. But up in the sky you can still see the stars and the moon. So you can literally see day and night at the same time. So what this picture reminds us is that if we had just thought of summit, we would have missed that. And we would not have seen that from the summit. So it's very important to enjoy the journey. That's what we have really, really learned. And also because it is in the journey, you make real friends. Here, Diki was waiting for me, I was waiting for Diki, Puzan was waiting for Maya, Maya was waiting for Puzan. So we knew who are our friends. Once you're on the summit, everybody wants to become your best friend. Everybody is somehow related to you or has known you. That's how life is, that's how it happens. So it's important to enjoy the journey is what this picture tells us. But then it's Everest, so there isn't much time for sightseeing and being philosophical. That's what Everest treats you with. This is Hillary Step. In 1953, before Tenzing Norgay and Edmund Hillary went to the summit for the first time, many expeditions, actually Tenzing Norgay himself, had been to South Summit, which is just before you get to Hillary Step. So there are other climbers who reached to South Summit, but no one could cross this section. That's why when the two of them climbed this section and made it to the summit, when they came back, Hillary obviously, shared with everyone how this section really looks like. So in his honor, this section is called Hillary Step. As you can see in the picture, it's just rock section. You're putting on crampons, so it is very difficult to maintain your balance here. But you're so high, you can't risk taking out your crampons. If you miss one of them, there's no way you can make it back. If you fall on the right, you'll have to find a landing spot in Tibet. If you fall on the left, that's Nepal. So your body is practically international border at this point. The other thing about Hillary Step is that if any of you ever decide to go climb Everest, what people will tell you is that Hillary Step कटेपछि त summit ठ्याक्कै पुग्यो. सबैजनाले त्यही भन्छ. Everybody says you finish climbing Hillary Step and then you're on the summit. So we were like, okay, when you see here, when you hear what you see on the top where people are, we're like, okay, that's the summit. So just one more step, and that's the summit. But when you get there, it's not. You still have to climb 4 or 5 more minutes, which feels like forever at that altitude. And then that's where you get. When we started, I told you all the apprehensions people had. In mountaineering, one person from the team has to make it to the summit. And that's the successful expedition. It's not necessary everyone makes it. And that's what we're told. That was our definition of success. A lot of people said, will be, a few people from our team will die, not more than 1 or max 2 people will make it to the summit. But what happened by May 25th, 2008 was, out of 10 of us, all of us reached the summit of Everest, and we became the most successful women's team to be on Everest ever. In a single year, the number of women on Everest, Nepali women on Everest, rose from 7 to 17. And by default, because there were so few women who climbed Everest before us, we also became the first Gurung and the first Brahmin and the first Kshetri and first journalist and first this. So more importantly, we were a team. Also, Nimnoma became the youngest girl to climb Everest at 17 at that time. This was obviously something a lot of people never imagined. Even we never thought 10 on 10 could be possible on Everest. And this was very, very inspiring for all of us. But this was where the challenge started. We had no idea. We had absolutely no clue what we wanted to do with our lives after Everest. जुनमा के गर्ने भनेर कसैले सोध्यो भने हामीलाई केही पनि आन्सरै थिएन. We came back. Like I said, we're a team of 10 women, 2 male leaders, and we're like a family. We work together. We've shared our life and death together on a rope. So it was even more than a family. That's how we're together for. But after Everest, there was no plan. There was nothing. It was just one mountain project. So the 7 of us, we'd be in Tamil. How many of you? Tamil. So we're just drinking black tea like we did in base camp every day, and we were like, what are we doing with our lives, making these restaurants rich? Not going back to our old jobs, because we just didn't want to go back to our old lives. It was not satisfying. Some of us tried, it was not satisfying. And we looked at ourselves and we were like, such a successful team. Forget just Nepal, even the most developed country in the world, even much bigger countries in the world, don't have a team like this. After we came back from Everest, more and more people wanted to listen to us. So nobody, there is not a similar platform anywhere else in the world, so why should we stop now? So we all thought we should give 4 or 5 more years to this thing, and maybe if we stick together, something beautiful can come out. And that's what we decided to do. The first thing we did was we started visiting schools. This was again supported by World Food Program. We've been to over 130 schools in Nepal, from very remote, far western section to the Tarai, to the best schools in the country. And in Jumla, Mugu, Karnali ko aru ठाउँहरु, सुदूर पश्चिम भयो, तराईमा धनुषा, महोत्तरी, थरी-थरीको स्कुलहरुमा चाहिँ हामी पुग्यौं. अनि इन्टरनेसनलमा लिंकन स्कुलहरु पनि पुग्यौं. अनि त्यो स्कुलहरुमा पुग्दाखेरि चाहिँ जुन भाइ बहिनीहरुले हामी स्कुल जाँदाखेरि हामीलाई पनि टिममा काम गर्नुपर्छ हैन. हेल्थ भनेको चाहिँ सबभन्दा इम्पोर्टेन्ट चीज हो. अब हामीलाई सानैदेखि डाक्टर बन्ने, इन्जिनियर बन्ने, अब सक्सेसफुल हुने भनेको पैसा कमाउने. मैले त एटलिस्ट त्यही सुनेको थिएँ, त्यही सिकेको थिएँ. When we're young, we're never told that the most important objective in your life should be to be healthy. The question was always, what do you want to be when you grow up? Doctor or engineer or pilot, something like that. The question was never exploring your own potential. The question was always about being rich. And at the time when we were growing up, at least, we were never in school made to work in a team. It was about being the first in the class. It was not about working together. So when we first visited Kanya Mandir school, Kanya Mandirma गयौं अनि त्यहाँ त अब बहिनी बहिनीहरु हुनुहुन्थ्यो. हामी गयौं अनि there was so much excitement अनि हामीले सबै कुराहरु शेयर गर्यौं. त्यहाँको प्रिन्सिपल, she was really inspiring to us as well. अनि उहाँले हामीलाई यो भन्नुभयो कि मेरो विद्यार्थीहरु मेरो छोरी जस्तो हो, म उनीहरुलाई पनि लाइफमा केही गर भनेर चाहिँ भन्न चाहन्छु. तर एक्लै गर्ने कि मिलेर गर्ने कि कसरी गर्ने भन्ने चीज चाहिँ बताउनलाई हामीसित किताबमा पनि छैन. किताब बाहिर चाहिँ हामीले कसरी भन्ने पनि हामीलाई चाहिँ राम्रोसित हाम्रो आइडिया छैन. त्यही भएर तपाईहरुले यो कार्यक्रम चाहिँ आज यहाँबाट सुरु गर्नुभयो. यो चाहिँ तपाईहरुले गाउँ-गाउँमा पुर्याउनुस् है भनेर हामीलाई कन्या मन्दिरको प्रिन्सिपलले चाहिँ भन्नुभयो. त्यसपछि we started visiting schools, like I said, across the country and got really great response. In some villages we'd go and we talked to one classroom, and kids in the other classroom would be like, we don't watch it, what's going on in this classroom. And then a lot of times, especially when we went outside of Kathmandu, teachers wanted to know about us. So they would form another meeting with teachers and we'd do another presentation for teachers. And in some villages we'd do a presentation, and this one teacher was like, I want you to come to my home. And then we went to his home. He gathered all the kids from his neighborhood and called them at his place, and then we shared our experience with them. So we got really great response, and we realized that something like this is missing in our country. And we realized the importance of this program so much that we've made it a core component of whatever we're going to do as a team, for the rest of our lives. Apart from that, we also organize weekly hikes around Kathmandu Valley. That's the beauty of Kathmandu, because we're a valley, there are hills, 30 minutes drive, and you can be on a nice hill surrounded by mountains with mountain views. And it's great. But unfortunately, for a lot of men also and women in Kathmandu, we're so glued to the computer screens and our couches that we're not exploring what's so close by, whether it's nature or our own potential. So we encourage urban women and also young girls, like the one we have here. We've had a couple of friends like you, who in the beginning, there was one girl, she came and she, at half the way, she was like, I can't do it, I'm gonna die, I want chocolate. And we're like, okay, it's a bad idea, maybe one of us should walk her down. And after 15 minutes of rest, she was like, okay, I'll be slow, but I want to continue. After that, she has come with us at least to 10 more hikes. So every time we're hiking, she comes with us. And she does not stop, she does not cry. And in fact, in one of the hikes, when her sister didn't want to bring her because it was going to be a much longer hike, this one says, you think I can beat you? So that's the confidence we saw in young girls. And the women in this picture, she was 40 when we took this picture, when she went for a hike with us, smallest hill surrounding the valley. This is how she literally went up and down. She was not sure about putting one feet in front of another. Couple months later, she went to Everest base camp. So this is again something we want to continue for the rest of our lives. And my friends are doing that back in Kathmandu at the moment. But our 7 summits is our common passion. Climbing mountains is our common passion. So after doing the school visits and these activities, we're like, what do we do next? What mountain do we climb next? We had to thought of many factors. One thing we thought of was, we're all Nepalese and we have the Himalayas, so we're going to climb in our own country, come what may. I mean, that's a given. When we looked at the statistics of 7 summits, there are only less than 350 people in the world who have climbed the 7 summits. Out of that, only 51 are women. There are more than 1,000 Nepali men who have climbed Everest. There are only 2 Nepali men who have done the 7 summits, and there is not a single Nepali woman who has climbed 7 summits. So it was clear to us that now it's time to take our flag outside of Nepal and let the whole world Nepal that we exist. We were encouraged by so many people after Everest. Everybody lauded our accomplishment. But if I leave border of my country and people don't even know my country exists, my achievements makes no sense. I mean, my problems make no sense. They have to first know that I exist. Then my achievements and my problems and my potential come to the surface. That's how at least we felt. So we started this mission, 7 Summits Women Team, Together We Reach Higher. We first went to Australia with this Buddha Komurti. And like I said, school program and daily hikes have made so much meaning to our team that we want to make it core components of everything we do. In Australia, we went to 7 schools after we finished climbing. And in those schools, the teacher would introduce us saying, these are a team of girls from Nepal, they've climbed Everest. And we'd start our presentation and we asked, do you know where is Everest? Then they were like, Alaska, it's like UK. We're like, so our generation has a great responsibility, is what we felt. All of us, we still have a lot to do to let people know what Everest is maybe at places. Where is it? What does it mean? We then went to Russia to climb the highest mountain in Europe. And when we were in our dinings in the base camp, there'd be people from other teams who would come to look at us. Not because we're girls, of course, but they just could not believe what is a team of Nepali women doing in Russia, like on a mountain. And our leader, our local guide, used to come to us and they were like, you're driving all these other teams crazy because they can't believe, like, why is a team of Nepali women here? And they would come to check if we really were speaking Nepali or if we were really from Nepal. And that was interesting. There was a man in the area who told us that Tenzing Norgay had been to Elbrus in the early 60s after he had already climbed Everest, and he had fond memories of how they were singing and dancing and having fun, and it happened in the mountains. So here again, it was making us realize, okay, very few people know our country, and even for people who know our country, it's crazy for them to think that women from this country, young people from this country, can actually go for something like climbing mountains or pursue a dream. With each climb, the vision is just getting more and more clearer. Just as that was happening, what we do is, after each climb, we raise funds, we put together the support, we put together all the organizing components, and we go for that mountain. We come back, we start the fundraising process, and we basically start the same cycle again and again for each climb. Australia was great success. We were supported by local organizations and everything. Within a month's time, we went to climb in Russia, and what happened was, because there was so little time for us, we could not raise funds. There was not much sponsorship. So when we came back from Russia, we had huge loans. And our parents had no clue about this. We had huge loans. We thought we'd do events, we'll raise funds and pay off those loans. Now, it feels like it's common sense. No one is interested to support what's already been done. Like, that's common sense, right? But as they say, common sense is uncommon. We had to learn it the hard way. When we realized, okay, no one's interested to do this, we had to start earning money, paying off the loan, and with loans of the past climb, there was no possibility for us to declare when we wanted to climb the next mountains. So in this time, people started writing us off. In this time, people were like, oh, those girls, they were like, 7 summits was just like a fad for them, they're not serious about it, they're gonna get married, have children, that's their 7 summits. We had no plans to share with people, so obviously there was all sorts of questions. When we started the 7 summits, out of the original team of 10, one of our friends said she was not ready to commit to something as huge, so we started as a team of 9. We went to the last 2 mountains as a team of 9. But here, because our gap was just getting longer and longer, 2 of our friends decided to discontinue the journey. And it was very sort of heartbreaking for us, but we had to take everything. You can't force anyone to climb a mountain if they're not interested. And to accept that also was difficult for us. Like I said, we tried to do this one event and that event, and nothing was working out. After working for 2 or 3 months for one event, it would generate like $500. So our journey has been a complete journey of trial and error. The reason I'm sharing this is because, like I said, there are so few people who've done 7 summits in the first place, so few Nepalese in the second place, and no Nepali women. And then as a team, we don't know anyone else who's done 7 summits as a team. So we literally, our team has no footsteps to follow. अरूले गरेर अनि पहिला यसरी भएको थियो भनेर एभरेस्टको बेलामा हामीलाई पछ्याउन सजिलो थियो बरु हैन, क्लाइम्ब गर्न गाह्रो भयो। तर अहिले भनेको त हामीले आफैले बाटो बनाउँदै जानु परेको छ। We can't rely on somebody else preparing everything for us. We have to make these mistakes ourselves. We have to try one new thing and another new thing. Otherwise, it's not just going to work. And this is where we also realize that that is the case for Nepal. All of us complain, Nepalमा केही छैन, केही हुँदैन, चान्सेस नै छैन भनेर भन्छौँ। किनभने धेरै चीज गर्नै बाँकी छ, त्यही भएर केही चीज स्टार्ट गर्ने भने आफैले नगरिकन हुँदैन। हैन, पछ्याउने पाइलै नभएपछि त रिस्क धेरै भयो। त्यो चाहिँ हामीलाई मात्र हैन, हामी बाहेक हामी जस्तै अरु पनि धेरै युवाहरूले चाहिँ फेस गरिरहेको छ भन्ने कुरा यो फेजमा चाहिँ आएर हामीले थाहा पायौं। 2.5 years, no budget, nothing. 2 friends decided to carry on with their careers. This was a time where the 7 of us could have also said, okay, enough of this, I want to make money, have a career, start a family maybe. All of us had that choice. No one was forced to keep going. But we were probably emotional fools or something. But because for us, the 7 summits became our baby, our dream, our brainchild. We said, A dream belongs to those who complete it. Dream belongs to those who are not afraid of failing just because you want to try it out. So we said, if we want to do it, why should we stop? There is no one good reason in the world for us to stop. So 7 of us said, okay, we'll give it as many years as it might take, but we'll go for the next mountain and we're not ready to abort. As a result, this year, on International Women's Day, we're on the summit of our 4th peak, Mount Kilimanjaro in Africa. All 7 of us, and what made it more meaningful was, it was not just us. We had 3 Tanzanian women, 1 from South Africa, so total 4 African women climbing with us. For the first time, we were able to pass on that opportunity that once changed our lives to a new set of women. So it was way more meaningful. If we had climbed in 2011 maybe, right after Russia, I would not have been able to do this. This time we helped them, from how to put on their boots, how to put on their sunscreen, how much water to drink, everything. And they told us about women in Africa, also men in Africa. They told us about how their lives are. And on the outside, when we look at African women and us, there were so many differences. But when we started talking, there isn't any difference at all. It is similar challenges, similar dreams, similar energy. So this time was way more meaningful, and because of this experience, we want to continue climbing with local women in our evening climbs as well. Like I said, school visits are a core component. In Tanzania, we're able to visit 7 schools, including very remote school of Hajabe and Maasai community, to the International School of Tanzania. This is something we started doing and we will continue. What happened when we went here is that this Hajabe and Maasai school was supported by World Food Program again, and they're providing the afternoon meal. So when we went there, these little, African children, they were looking at us and everything is different, and they were like asking the teachers, what are they here for, who are they, and all sorts of things. So when we started speaking, and we didn't have visual aid, we didn't have posters, we didn't have anything, it was just words. And when we shared with them that Nimdoma is originally from a remote part of the country, just like they are, that Nimdoma was a beneficiary of WFP afternoon meal, that just like they are, and because she kept going to school, she could dream big, and she's now in front of you after climbing Kilimanjaro. Students were so inspired. By the end of our talk, all the students were raising their hands saying, I want to be like Nimdoma. And of all the places we've been to, these were the schools where they knew where is Everest. So it is again realizing that students, young people, we don't know that we might be poor or disadvantaged. It is what is put into our heads. What we know is that we have that energy, we have that dream, and we can learn and we can grow bigger and become someone. This is the same energy we've seen in Nepal, in Karnali, and same energy exactly in Tanzania. So it's been a beautiful process. After Africa, international media has sort of started noticing, 7 women from Nepal. This is fantastic. So they're doing stories on us. Nepal Tourism Board organized their first ever promotion in Africa in celebration of our climb, which was a great honor for our team. After Africa, Government of Nepal also decorated our team members with Everest Island Jubilee Medal. And we don't climb for medals, but when you get one, it feels good. That's why the picture is here. What I'm trying to say is that after Africa, people look at us and they're like, if these girls can come back after 2.5 years gap, nothing is going to stop them. That's what we're getting now. Why are more and more people recognizing us? Why are more people writing about us? I just had a meeting with a senior journalist from ESPN. They're planning to come to Nepal and film our team in Nepal. They're like, we don't want to wait for the next climb. We just want to come to Nepal, and they're like, we want to film Everest, we want to film your team, and go for the story. So I had a presentation day before at the World Bank office, at IFC, And they're all keen to listen to our story. Why? Because like a British friend of ours said, a woman, she said, you'll be more respected and you will be more mature because nothing happened in those 2.5 years. If we had just been a group of girls climbing one mountain and another, it would be a boring story to me. So today we can say Kilimanjaro is a difficult mountain because it made us wait for much longer than what Everest made us wait. Kilimanjaro was standing tall in Africa going, you girls better mature up for me or I'm not going to accept you. And when she finally accepted us, she gave us a lot of meanings, a lot of perspective, and the people in the world, as we can now say, see that. And we're feeling fantastic energy that we've brought from Africa, and that is what we're here to share. Some of the people here are asking me, what am I doing in the US? I'm actually married to an American guy, so that's why I'm in the US, to meet his family. But this time I'm utilizing to share our team's story with everyone possible. Whether I have to stand and speak, continue speaking for hours, not raising a single cent or rupee, doesn't matter. It is the time for the world to know what we're doing. And when you look at me today, you're not looking at one Shailee Basnet, एउटा Shailee Basnetले बोलेको सुनिराख्नु भएको छैन तपाईहरुले. I'm representing 7 women, and I derive my strength from these 7 women who have different skill, different strength, who come from different background. So when I'm speaking, you're hearing at least 7 women from Nepal speaking of the journey that we've been through, right from childhood till date. And what our team is literally nothing but just that energy of young people, energy of women that you can see everywhere. It's just that we got that right channel at the right time. That's why, and then we decided, we also took the right decision and we decided to continue. त्यो एनर्जी त्यो भनेको चाहिँ सबैमा हुँदो रहेछ. एकदमै नेपालको एकदमै रिमोट ठाउँमा जानु भयो भने पनि त्यो बच्चाहरुमा त्यही एनर्जी छ. हामी भन्दा के पनि फरक छैन उनीहरु. हामी मात्र कोही वरदान पाएर चाहिँ आएको होइन. तर हामीले त्यसमा विश्वास गरेनौं भने चाहिँ अनि फेरि हामीले अरु चीजहरु भन्ने, धेरै चीजलाई दोष दिने त्यो गर्नुपर्ने हुँदो रहेछ. तर हामीले सक्छौं भनेर अगाडि बढेर एउटाले अर्कोलाई साथ दियो भने चाहिँ अगाडि बढ्न सकिँदो रहेछ. That's why together we reach higher is our motto, because we literally believe without this team none of us could have done it. It is because we're a team we're able to do this. We still have 3 more to go for: Antarctica, South America, and then Denali, which is in this very country. We have to raise about $1 million, including documentary movie, photography, promotion, equipment, everything. And it's again an insane, crazy amount of money. Financial struggle has still not ended. It's very, very difficult. Our journey of trial and error still continues to raise this huge sum, where I'm doing these talks, we're writing new proposals, we're approaching new people. Some are coming to us and saying they want to support us, but because we still have to raise such a huge sum of money, it's not going to be easy, we know that, but we're ready for that. Now, nothing really scares us anymore. We'll do the impossible. You ask me, I'll say, no, I can't do this by myself. But you put my team and then ask us to do the most impossible thing in the world, we can do it. Because we've really understood that our team is our strength. That's why we're not scared to try new things. Our documentary movie is due in September. We're planning to do some screenings and maybe raising funds through that. We also have young filmmakers from New York who want to make a documentary movie on remaining 3 of our climbs. So that's fantastic. Doing these talks programs, we are getting now invitations for more talk sessions, paid talk sessions, so that's going good. Also, I told you something about the international media coverage. The promotional tour will continue. We'll bring out a book at the end of our mission. There will be 2 books actually. One will be on the experience based about our journey. Another, our goal is with everything with regards to education, empowerment and environment that we've learned across the 7 continents. We want to compile that and bring out educational material that can be distributed to students across the world. That's really the goal of our team, and we're working on that as well. Very recently we've started this 60 days online donation campaign, and seriously our journey of trial and error is still really seriously on, because I was coming to the US and everybody said, you know, you need to have a partner 501c3 tax deductible donation, set up online campaign, and everyone in the US will give money. And even if like 1,000 people give like $100, you can climb next mountain. And we're like, yeah, we gotta do it. So when I came here, I put all my energy just into that, like nothing else. We were like, Khali 501c3 betaune, an online campaign. I was like, that is the solution, you know, for all our problems. And we did that. And for the 10 days of starting the online campaign, we didn't have a single dollar. And I was doing talks, I was meeting people, and they were like, this is fantastic and all that, and you know, I'll donate today. And for 10 days, there's nothing. And I was calling my friends and saying, oh yeah, the drop you know, we're like, maybe we should drop this is not working. And obviously it was Maya, who was like, no, let it be. What will happen? If it doesn't work, we don't have to pay. You know, if something comes, something comes. It doesn't, it doesn't. So we're like, fine. But now Maya is doing more work. All the other friends are doing more work, because if this works, awesome. If this doesn't, we still have other areas where, again, we'll make mistakes maybe, try new things, maybe come up with some miracle. Like I said, we're not afraid of trying. And we'll keep doing that. Thank you all for being a great audience. Thank you all for being here. If you want to be a part of this journey, go to our website. You'll find links to our Facebook page, our Twitter, or if you want to donate anything, it's right there. And please, I'll take that.
You said you did 501c3 here. Is it registered in Nepal as non-profit or not?
Our team already has an organization that...
but is it a non-profit?
Yeah.
Yeah, like there are few things we can try, like Walk for Nepal Boston. We just had Walk for Nepal. It needs to be Nepal registered organization. I mean, it could be registered in USA, but
you have to do something in Nepal.
Something in Nepal. I mean, it's for Nepal. So I think that is another way you can approach. There'll be a Boston Walk for Nepal scheduled pretty soon, maybe next month or so. I'm not sure the date. So, like Nepalese Women's Global Network is going to participate. We have, like I was a former president. We have executive members and Kosadakshi here. So they are looking for an organization now to represent. You know, and Nepalese Women's Global Network can represent the organization in Nepal, but we need the details, like what the organization does. Like you have, we have to make a little campaigning flyer or something just like this, and you need to, you know, give your logo, that stuff to them. Then that could be one little thing. You can raise a lot if you campaign yourself over there and participate in Walk for Nepal. I know. Just a simple, one simple thing that came to my mind.
Thank you. We are definitely, we're registered as Global Inclusive Adventure Organization. And the interesting thing is our organization was registered 5 years ago. Now it will be 6 years ago. 30 ko din mein.
Yeah, it has everything to do with empowerment overall.
Let's continue Q&A for maybe 15-20 minutes, and then I guess we'll wrap up. So please go ahead.
And not only like Nepalese Women's Global Network, like there are so many other organizations participating in this Walk for Nepal. It is not only Boston, they do in other places also. So you can approach the organization here to represent your organization, not one time. I mean, it will be once in Boston, other time somewhere else. It could be in other country. And then not only NWGN, there are other organizations who can also represent your organization. That way you can raise better fund. You know, that is one little fund. I'm not talking about the used one, but of course you have plans for the used ones. Yeah, and I think we shouldn't give up on US-based online campaigning. It just needs to be, you know, the campaign needs to be wide enough. We have to, you know, be louder. Like, for example, the talk program you gave today, though the, you know, you don't see a big crowd, but then of course Indianapolis.com here, and then when you make, you know, press releases and send to other medias, they will know what you are and what you need. Then you might start getting, you know, it takes time. 10 days not enough.
Definitely. Thank you.
That's all I have to say. Thank you. It's very encouraging.
Yeah, I want to ask you a few slides quickly. Kickstarter online initiative.
Yeah, we not Kickstarter, but we started Indiegogo on Indiegogo.
Kickstarter is actually good because like you always give a goal to the people, like the way you divide your you know, budget, what you'd like to achieve. And they've come up like at times people really collect a lot of money, huge amounts. You just have to have like an appealing project and also like a wonderful track record, and you carry both of them at the same time. I think that's going to be a good initiative because it will not restrict your initiative to Nepal or to the community of mountaineers, but there are people like across the globe who just make donations like $5, $100, $1 million, you know. Like, I think that's going to be helpful, like if that's one thing you're interested in looking at.
So thank you so much. Why don't you take a look at, and I'm going to pass this to everyone. At our website there is a link to the Indiegogo campaign. We compared it with Kickstarter and just found out that Indiegogo works better for our cause. But if that's better, then we can obviously, you know, work on it as well. Thank you. Questions?
It is just a suggestions again. dcnepal.com or Indianapolis.com. I don't know whether Indianapolis.com would do it again. I mean, they have not done yet, but dcnepal.com sometimes just they represent to raise fund over the website. Like if they say, okay, this team is doing this, they give little background of yours or your videos, and then they just, if they, you know, if you approach them, dcnepal.com or Indianapolis.com, maybe they put it in the, you prepare your material, they representing you, raising fund for you. So there are so many viewers around the world. Like dcnepal.com has over 1 million viewers, I think. So it is all of 100,000 or 100,000. I don't remember the numbers. So you know, even you know, if you approach saying that through them representing dcnepal.com representing you and asking for fundraiser, I mean, there is some chance too. So you have to approach them.
Right. He already is telling me you do that.
Yeah, I'll connect you to DCNEPAL.
Thank you. Thank you. Questions, comments?
I have a question about your hiking. I work at the law school here, and I came today to open the door and make sure you had electricity. Well, I was just in Nepal 3 weeks ago for the first time in my life. It was spectacular, except for the leeches that were jumping on me. Which it wasn't, but I was wondering, when I was in Kathmandu, they showed us those heavy boots that you wear. How did you ever carry all the weight and the heavy boots up in Everest? How was that possible? They were so heavy, we could hardly pick them up.
You know, when I went for that first training, you're supposed to be on those boots like when we were on the high mountains.
Yeah.
When we were doing those ice climbing. So I got like rashes, skin rashes, and we had a doctor in the team.
Oh.
I showed it to him. He was like, no, there isn't much we can do if you're going to be on these boots. And I was like, okay, there's no way I'm giving up my training. So for 7 days, we just put a bandage, and we're like, okay, we're not going to look at it. So we just ignored. And what I'm trying to share here is that I think when you go for something like Everest, the mental preparation is very important.
Law school in Washington, D.C., 3 blocks from the White House. And a lot of the professors here know like Mrs. Clinton and you know, Mrs. Obama, and a lot of the Mrs. Obama's into exercise, and she promotes it. And I don't know, I'll talk to some of the professors here who know the Obamas. Because if Mrs. Obama got interested in this, that would make a big difference. So I know that some of the professors here are personal friends with the Obamas. So I'm going to mention it, at least mention it. I don't know what will happen, but I'm glad I came and listened to it so I could firsthand say I can mention it to some of the law professors here. Because the White House is literally 3 blocks.
Mm-hmm.
The Supreme Court Justice Thomas comes and teaches here, for example. So big people come here to teach. It's a location, but anyway. So I'm glad. I was honored to be here. I felt honored to be here.
That's great.
That's a suggestion that's from Sandy, since you have a background as a journalist, I think you're supposed to be a journalist to climb Mount Everest. I'm a member of the National Press Club. We could also put you in touch with the president of the National Press Club, who is a woman.
Okay.
And I'm sure she would also be encouraged to give you some suggestions and assist you with the campaign in whatever form she can. So I think you should also utilize the journalistic connection. That
Sure.
helps. Yeah.
Okay.
Talking about Mrs. Obama, like Mrs. Hillary Clinton, she got that name from something to do with Hillary. You know that
Really?
story? Yeah.
Really?
Because she was there when she was in
King
Nepal.
Birendra was there, yeah? She was
Yeah.
in Nepal.
Yeah, she was in Nepal. She got that name from Hillary who climbed them up. Yeah, yeah. And then she would be very much interested too if you approach
She
her.
knew about it, yeah. She would be very interested.
Yeah, and then talking about like the Mrs. Obama is also the chair of the Women Council anyway of
Yeah,
the
she
United
is.
States. So no harm in proposing
Yes.
them, right?
Definitely.
And they actually focus on the environment.
Okay.
They're just trying to play, if you have work which you've done directly related to environment, try to like play up that angle. I don't know. I'll give it a
What
shot.
we do is we are taking our resources, our information is based on EC Mode. EC Mode is this organization that's been doing studies on Himalayas for the last 25 years. So based on what we've seen and what our seniors have seen in the mountains, like Apa Sherpa Tibonwa, he said that for the first time in his last climb he saw water at the fourth camp. Small running stream, So things like that. We also gather information, experience from senior climbers, but also some few things we've seen ourselves. But also we base our information on what EC Mode has come with their research. And what we do is we share this information about what's happening in the Himalayas everywhere we go, and we learn locally what's happening in that mountain. And our goal is to compile also this information in a final book that we want to come out with. So maybe yes.
Shailee, you reached the top of the world. We hope you stay on top. Let's give Shailee and her team a big round. So, before we wrap this up, I have a few people I need to thank. So first and foremost, GWU Law School, thank you so much for allowing us to use this wonderful room. We're very grateful. I also want to recognize two established organizations here, the American ANA, I see Thakurji there, ANS, American Nepali Society, and the American Nepali Women's Association, ANWA. So thank you so much for your support. I also want to thank the members of the media, Biswaraj Dai, very not that well recognized, but so crucial in sort of portraying these events like ours in the media. So thank you so much, Biswaraj. Thank you. And last, of course, but not least, I want to recognize the people who actually did all the hard work to put this together. So Niranjan, Adhikari, Nimesh Pungana, and thank you so much for putting this conference together. And thank you everyone for coming here in this hot afternoon. And so I guess a final plug for this group that we have started. So 4 of us have basically started this informal group with the hope that we're going to be able to put events like this more frequently in future. So if you live in the DC area and want to get involved, talk to one of us, and hopefully we'll do something together. Thank you.